Hello and welcome to the September edition of our Town Topics video program. My name is Steve D'Olivera and I am the town's Public Information Officer. This month, September 2021, marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on our country. And for our program this month, we'll be talking with two individuals. Fire Chief Judson Hopping, who heads up the Volunteer Fire Department, and former Town Commissioner Mark Brown, who was in Washington, D.C. that day, and has a very, very interesting story to tell. This Saturday, September 11th, the fire department will be honoring all the victims of 9/11 by raising an American flag using their ladder truck in front of Town Hall for everyone on A1A who drives by to see. And that morning, very early that morning, around 6:30, a number of VFD members will be taking part in the Tunnels to Towers run, which commemorates the life of a New York City firefighter, Stephen Seiler. Stephen was on his way home that morning when he heard about the attacks. He drove back to the fire station, got his gear, and then tried to drive over to the towers. As it turns out, the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel was closed. He couldn't get through. So with 60 pounds of gear on his back, he ran through the tunnel and got to the Twin Towers. And of course, unfortunately, he lost his life that day. Also later on in the program, we'll be talking with Stephanie Kedzoff, a natural resource specialist with Broward County, about the mitigation reef, the artificial reef that's being built off the town. Anyway, we hope you enjoy the program.
I'm Judson Hopping. I'm the Fire Chief for Lauderdale-By-The-Sea Volunteer Fire Department here in Lauderdale-By-The-Sea, Florida. This Saturday marks the 20th anniversary of September 11, which was a violent attack on the United States of America. And this Saturday we're going to honor the fallen firefighters, the brothers and sisters that we lost in New York City, 343 souls, not to mention almost 3,000 civilians, by raising the flag over A1A on our aerial. And we'll do that during the day on Saturday to mark their remembrance.
And how long will you keep that flag up?
All day.
All day.
Sun up, sundown.
Chief, what does 9/11 mean generally to firefighters?
Well, it's a devastating blow to the brotherhood and sisterhood of the firefighting community, in that we lost so many at one time. You know, firefighters in general, they're a unique group. They're not unlike the law enforcement, where you put yourselves at grave danger of losing for injury or death. But it truly is, to lose so many brothers and sisters in one terrible terrorist act is really hard on all of us. And they still, to this day, we do the Tunnels to Towers run, which is in Fort Lauderdale. It's about a 3.5 mile run, and members of our department do participate in that.
And that's taking place this year?
Yes.
Well, tell us about the run. What exactly is it?
It's just Stephen Seiler was a member of the New York Fire Department, and when he saw that he was stuck in the tunnel in a car, he got out and ran all the way to the towers, which is about 3.5 miles, and that's to commemorate he lost his life in that battle.
Okay, so it's to commemorate his actions that day.
Correct.
And he was a New York City firefighter, huh?
Yes.
And how many years has that been going on? Is it 20 years, or when did they start that?
I believe it started. I believe it's 19 years now.
19 years now. Great. Thank you, Chief.
I'm Mark Brown. I'm the former Commissioner and Vice Mayor of Lauderdale-By-The-Sea. On 9/11, I was working in the U.S. Congress. I was the Chief of Staff for Congressman Tim Romer from South Bend, Indiana. Before I went to work that morning, I had seen on television that a plane flew into one of the World Trade Center buildings, and I just assumed it was a terrible accident. When I got to work, there was a meeting planned in our office. My boss was a pretty conservative Democrat, and Nancy Pelosi was running for re-election as minority leader of the House of Representatives. My boss was on the fence whether or not to vote for her. So she came to our office to meet with him. And there was another congressman there as well, Chad Edwards from Texas. The three of them were in the congressman's office meeting. I was watching on television, and I saw the second plane hit the World Trade Center. Then I saw the plane hit the Pentagon, and they said there was another plane in the air heading towards the Capitol building, and I realized, oh my gosh, Nancy Pelosi, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, is in my boss's office right now, and she doesn't have any idea what's going on. So I thought, I have to go tell them. So I opened the door and I walked in and I said, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you need to know what's going on. And I told her that the second plane had hit the World Trade Center and the Pentagon was on fire. There was a plane had hit it, and there was another plane heading right towards us in the Capitol building. And there were reports at that time that the White House was on fire. And Nancy Pelosi looked at me. Her jaw dropped. She just set her jaw. She didn't say a word. She stood up, she picked up her pocketbook, and she walked out of the office. And I guess the Secret Service came and whisked her away, along with the Speaker of the House, to whatever the private location is that they take the congressional leaders. So that was my little slice of history. I was the one who informed Nancy Pelosi of what had happened on 9/11.
Was she mad at you for interrupting the meeting?
She was not mad at me. She was stunned. She really had a stunned look on her face. And I stay in touch with the congressman that I worked for, and he told me that she's told that story many times about how I was the one that came in and broke the news to her of what was going on in the country. I got in my car and I drove home. I was living in Arlington, Virginia. I had to drive right by the Pentagon on the way home, and I could see the plane sticking up in the air from the building, and the Pentagon was still on fire. There was a big mass response effort underway. So all things considered, it made for quite an interesting day.
For the second half of our program, we'll be talking with Stephanie Kedzoff, a Broward County natural resource specialist who is also the project manager for the mitigation reef that is now being built off the town. And as you've all seen, the barge, I'm sure, that is just about 1,500 feet off our shore right now. It's off Washingtonia Park. What the town found out is that this is the largest fabricated artificial reef ever built over Broward County, which is very, very interesting. Anyway, we hope you enjoy our conversation with Stephanie.
Okay, my name is Stephanie Kedzoff. I'm a natural resources specialist with Broward County's Environmental Planning and Community Resilience Division, and I'm the project manager of the mitigation reef for the Broward County Segment 2 Shore Protection Project.
Tell us about this barge that's behind you. What's it doing, and how long is it going to be here?
Yeah, so the barge that you see behind me, so this is Resolve Marine. They are our contractor for this mitigation reef. They started deploying the artificial reef modules about 2 weeks ago on August 17th, and we anticipate that they'll be offshore until probably mid to end of November.
Cool. And what are they doing in terms of what material are they dropping on the seafloor there?
Yeah, so they're dropping individual artificial reef modules, and the modules are made out of concrete and limestone.
And this reef is being built to create marine habitat. It's not really for divers, although they will come across it, I'm sure.
So we hope that divers won't really come across this reef. It's being deployed about 1,500 feet offshore, so it's not really safe for people to swim there from the shore, but it is meant to create hard bottom habitat. So we don't really encourage divers to dive on this reef. It's meant to create that habitat. It's meant to encourage growth of corals and other nearshore critters, and so we hope that it just creates habitat, and we hope that divers will rather enjoy some of Lauderdale-By-The-Sea's other shore dives instead of this one.
How many units do they deploy per day or per week? Does it depend on the weather?
It's very weather dependent. They can They've been deploying anywhere from 20 to 50 modules in a day, but in total they're going to be deploying over 4,000 individual units.
Wow, wow. So this reef is going to stretch across quite a wide area, huh?
Yes.
Interesting, very interesting. And will this create habitat for sea turtles, or is it really not for them?
It can, yeah, it definitely can. So the ocean ecosystem is really all connected. So we start by building the foundation with the reefs and the corals, and then we hope that some fish will move in, and then hopefully some other critters will move in, like invertebrates, like maybe some crabs or a lobster, and then hopefully the sea turtles will also move in. Cool,
cool. And how much is this project costing in terms of the total cost?
The total cost of the project is about $15 million, and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection will reimburse up to half of that cost.
Tell me about the design of the modules. They're unique, aren't they?
Unique as far as, what do you mean?
I mean, like they're concrete rectangles with limestone rocks affixed to the top. I've never seen that anywhere.
Yeah, so the design of the modules was based on the DEP permits. So this module design was from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. They requested that we use this design of module, and so that's what we've designed to meet project permits.
And is there anything else about the project that you'd like to say?
The team that's on the barge and Resolve and their team are ensuring that all of our nearshore resources are being protected. So they are checking to make sure that nothing's being impacted on the bottom as they're deploying these modules. But it's pretty exciting stuff.
Have you been out there yet on the barge?
Not yet.
Are you planning to go?
Probably not on the barge, but we're hoping to get a boat day in here soon so that we can dive to see what they've placed so far and just to monitor the progress of the project.
Are you going to take pictures and video?
Hopefully.
We'd love
the camera works.
We'd love to get copies.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Super. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes our program for September. As you heard Stephanie say, hopefully we'll have some photos and video, possibly of the reef as it looks underwater, for a better idea of what's going on there. So thank you for paying attention, and we'll see you in October.